Supervision. You are God design, God design.
What's the deal, more buddies? What's the deal? What's going on? You ready? It's the time. You know what time it is. Welcome to the Boerboel Show. This is the place to be. If you're a Boerboel enthusiast, if you love dogs, if you care about this Boerboel breed, this is where you want to be. We're going to discuss the Boerboel. We're breaking it down to the dust, and then we're going to build it back up. I'm your host, Jordan Pittman, my co-host, Jason Gibson. What's up, boss man?
What's going on, brother, man? How you doing?
Man, I feel like $1 million. I just don't have the money.
All right, we're trying to get it. It's out there somewhere. We just got to figure out how to get it in our pockets, right?
Yeah, but guess what, though? You know what? I got my dogs, and guess what? I feel like a very rich man. Even though I don't have a whole lot of money, I got my dogs, I got my health. We made it another day. And listen, the sun don't shine every day, but guess what? It's going to shine again. And it's going to be a great episode. This kind of what we've been waiting for. Ain't that right, big bro?
All week long, every week long, man. I can't wait to break these Boerboels down and discuss them with everybody out there in the Boerboel universe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this week, before we get into our thing, I want to make a couple of announcements. The United Boerboel Club is live. It's going. We updated it. I got I'm working on some new pages. That is going. I'm behind the scenes. I'm working diligently, board buddies, constantly to develop this thing. I got a new page that I just put up. It goes into the star rating program, how we're going to be awarding these stars. It gives you an opportunity to publicize your dogs. If you're doing more, if you're active with your dogs, we want to celebrate you and reward you. We want to give you your accolades, and we want to separate those that's doing the most with their dogs.
All the hard work, dedication you've been putting into this is now coming to fruition, brother. The United Boerboels Club is ready to open up its gates and go loose on the world, man. How do you feel? Is it like you ready for it or what?
Man, listen, that's like I've been working all of this time. I can't wait till this finally completed, and then I can get back into doing my thing with the promos and pumping out my videos and pumping out my shorts and my reels. I'm excited because it's finalized. You know, when you finally get something, that accomplishment, I feel so good about it. You know, I'm finally there. Finally, we done made it, bro.
Yes, well, I can't wait to get all of my dogs registered. I'm gonna have them dual registered there. I can't wait, man. You got some beautiful certificates. I got a sneak peek at it, man. I love the whole setup. I'm just proud to be one of the first people with mine registered with you guys. So, man, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah, big brother. Appraisals is going. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be very, very informative. I love so far the success that we've been having, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Okay. Well, you got that iron hot and lots of fire right now. That iron hot and lots of fire, and that's what we all trying to do over here. Just as many things as you can have going on in the Boerboel universe as possible is a good thing, because this breed deserves it. And man, we love it, and we just want to just expose it on every front to everybody so they can feel what we feel about these dogs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, sharing this positive experience, this majestic breed that we have. It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm so excited about it. And then we're gonna actually have true and accurate data that we're gonna be recording and publishing, and it's not shrouded in secrecy. We got fair fees and prices and cost. It's gonna be lit. So this week we're discussing 8 to 14 months.
Okay. We overlapping just a little bit from last week, because as we know, an hour and a half is not long enough to cover and go through all the minute details that we have when you have these puppies coming in. So we're going to take that 8 to 14 months and expand upon that. Some of the expectations you might have, some of the physiological changes that might go on between your monster Boerboel when you get it. So yeah, another groundbreaking topic.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a very important time in developing your puppy's relationship with you. I mean, your dogs, as they reach maturity, now they've had a chance to study you, your habits. This is,
Oh, yeah.
you get your dog at 8 weeks old, from that's 2 months. So from 2 months to 8 months, he's had a chance, or she's had a chance, to study you, to get familiar with your routines, your procedures, your policies. They have already developed some form of understanding of your boundaries, your rules. They know how to operate within the guidelines of the family, and so they also have studied the weaknesses. It's kind of like, I hate to compare it to like um, prison, but it's kind of like, the inmates have studied the guards, and they know the habits and the routines.
Yep.
And they're gonna got to kind of feel for the environment that they're surviving in. And this is a way for us to really, this is a time for us to really double down on our rules and teach respectful behavior. And it's important for puppies to understand their boundaries. We want you to have a great relationship with your dog. We want you to get the full benefits of a Boerboel ownership. So this is a key time in the development. This is a lot of time when the dogs begin to challenge people, and so it can be a very difficult time if all of the things if you have not really invested in the dogs as you should have and done everything that you should have. And it's also a great time for you to really cement the things that you have, the great things, the good things that you have already accomplished. So
you're saying when you hit this 8-month mark, you're saying that not only have the dogs been developing along with you, but they've been observing your day to day. They've been calculating, and they've been like kind of road mapping how existence is going to be in your household, right? So they've been in layman's term, they've been watching / observing you.
Exactly, and they've been studying, and they've been taking notes. And they've been learning, and they've been filling you out, and they kind of got an idea of what you accept and what you don't accept. And so this is a key time. It's a very important time for your dog's development, because a lot of what you're going to be doing right now at this stage is kind of like a teenager.
Yeah. Where they're going to be pushing and they're going to be trying to find the limits in some ways, trying to maybe push the boundaries a little bit, to see, okay, he said that's not acceptable, but is it really not acceptable? So they're going to push the limits a little bit, like you said, like rebellious teenagers, just a tad bit.
Right. We talk about, the teenagers get to feeling themselves, they smelling themselves, and the dog is the same way. He's been in the environment. He's been marking territory. He got a feel for what he wants to do more. He wants to go out and explore more. He has an increased level of independence. So he feels like he's a man now, and he can handle this world on his own. He goes out into the environment. He smells himself. He literally can smell himself. And he's like, well, I'm a man out here. And it's a lot of boys and weak dogs and stuff. And he get to strutting like a peacock, and he's stepping with confidence. And so this is a key time for you to develop and continue to socialize. And understand what your dog is going to, and it's a good point for you to start to be prepared so you can address these issues before they become issues.
Yeah. So socialization is still a key. Getting your dog out there in different environments, letting them be able to associate all the smells to the environment and what's going on. And it's important to note that these dogs aren't necessarily animal or human aggressive. Again, I always say, in my opinion, they are the epitome of a guard dog. They are the epitome of a guard dog. And so, again, if they're well socialized to other animals, people, and environment, that tends to temper down some undue aggression that might underlie some dogs. It's not prevalent, but some dogs might have that little aggressive little snap to it more than others. but then more confidence, more exposure can kind of bring that down, so they'll know what's acceptable or not.
Yeah, that's a good point, big bro. That's a good point. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Like you said, though, we want to make sure that we, being and supportive at this time, because we don't want to let the dog get way out of line.
No, not at all. Again, boundaries. You heard me say it plenty of times last week. Don't let a cute 20-pound dog do anything you don't want a 170, 180-pound dog doing. And when you're hitting this 8-month mark, your puppy's going to be about 120, 130, possibly 140. So it's going to be a big dog at this time, and it's going to start realizing that, hey, I've outgrown certain animals in my environment. I am, like Jordan was saying, I am more physically powerful than everybody else. So I'm more physically powerful. I might want to express that.
Exactly. And this is the time where you got to be ready. You're going to be prepared. You're going to be you're going to be ready to address these situations as they arrive, because it's coming. He's reaching maturity.
Captain America asked, what's your best advice for those rebellious months?
So I'm glad that this is a key time for exercise, right?
Okay. I'm glad you said that. Okay.
This is a key time for establishing leadership. At this stage in the game, you got the dogs, they start to develop these destructive habits because they start to say, well, look, it's got to be more to life than this crate. It's got to be more to the life than just sitting around here. Let me figure out a way. I've watched Dad come and unlatch the crate. I know how to get out. Let me try to make my escape this time. I'm a little bit tired and bored. I want to do something. So when you have this exercise routine, I'm talking about, now you can start working and building, taking the dog to exhaustion, taking the dog to fatigue. This is the stage in the game where you want to really have that exercise routine down pat. So you establish that, listen, this is what we do. We move around. This is your job. You're going to be out here involved with the environment. I need you to be observing the territory. I want you to be protective of your environment, your stance. So you're giving them a feel for, what is my area?
Yep.
And that is established through the walk. Cesar Millan, always one of the first things that he talks about with dogs is exercise, right? So when he takes in these difficult dogs to manage, he brings them to his facility. One of the routines that he does every single day with his dogs is a 3-mile walk, right? So that's giving you a reason to exist. You're going to go through this hike. We're going to migrate. We're going to observe the trails. We're going to observe the smells. We're going to take all of these things in, these environmental stimuluses in, and then we're going to weigh them up, and we're going to measure them, and we're going to act according to the situation as they present themselves. This is your dog's routine. So you want to get busy with you. You already got to have this in mind. As his muscles have strengthened, he's grown, he's gotten bigger, he's got more. So he needs more activities to stimulate his mental development. That's where your role as a breeder, owner, enthusiast comes in. How much now it's time to start getting active, and this is going to carry you all the way into adulthood.
Okay.
So for those rebellious months, I'm looking for the dog to make mistakes, and then I'm going to correct those. I know that the dog is going to challenge me. I know that some kind of way he may start to get dominant over at the food bowl. He may start to improperly behave with the litter mates or the other dogs within the pack. He may try to establish some dominance. And your job is to step in with calm, assertive energy, and you're going to check the dog. It's not about dominating. I want to make that very clear. We're not teaching the dog that, we're going to rule by force. Remember, we're going to use our tools. This is where everything that we've been practicing, we've been learning up until this point comes into play. We're going to institute the chain, the choke chain, the choke collar, and your leash. And that's how you're going to do. You're going to really establish your communication with the dog at that age.
So along with the physical training that you're talking about, the exercise, the stimulation, one thing I also add in too, as soon as we hit that 8-month mark, what I start doing is I actually give my dogs responsibilities at 8 months, and a little bit, I give them more freedom as they can handle it. So say I'm crate training my dog. So if I'm gone during the day, they're in the crate, and then I let them out when I'm up in the house, and then when I go to bed, I might crate them again. Well, at 8 months, I'm starting to give them a little bit more freedom. I'll leave the house for graduating amounts of time. I might leave the house 10 to 20 minutes, and I'll leave them outside of their crate, because this is eventually their job, is to guard the house. And if they're crated, how are they going to guard the house? So while I'm gone 10, 15 minutes, I'm not just going to first time out of the crate leave 5 hours. 10, 15 minutes, run to the corner store or something, let them get the roam of the house. And they kind of feel proud when you come back to the door. And then the same thing at night while you're asleep, I might let them out at night to roam the house. And they can kind of feel that, all right, dad's not home and I'm not in the crate. Man, I want to tear something up, but I'm also kind of waiting for him to come back. And I guess I got to hold the rest of the house down. So
Right.
I give them more responsibility too, starting at that 8-month mark.
We got a question. I Like Bullies TV wants to know, what type of responsibilities do you give them?
Yep, the responsibilities of starting to patrol the house, less crate time. So those responsibilities, again, you make them earn some more of their food, and going into more environments per se. Because now, when I've been walking them through the stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, even Walmart or something like that, I would strictly hold on to the leash tight, have them command to sit down and stuff. But now I'm letting them walk around the store with me. I'm letting people put more hands on them, give them responsibility to actually watch my back. So I'm not protecting him inside the store anymore. I'm letting him observe and be able to, okay, feel what's going on around me. So just small responsibilities that they'll have.
Yeah, and adding on to the socialization, building up their confidence, exposing them to these different environments. Like you said, you're going to take the dog to Home Depot. You're going to let them meet as lots of people. Let people put their hands on them. Give them a feel for what is a normal behavior, what is normal energy, normal voice tones, normal smells. Right? This calm, this regular smells. So that now the dog has a sense of familiarizing with normal behavior. Then what happens is, when you have someone that acts suspicious, right? You have someone that's acting a little bit aloof or suspect. Now you got giving the dog a frame of reference, and they can say, well, why is this guy acting like this? Oh, dad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, dad, is this dude, is you like the way that he's behaving? What you want me to do? How am I supposed to respond? And this is where you have to be mindful of your praise, right? You want to be conditioned. You got to understand that, okay, I am conditioning this dog's responses to this environment, to these different stimulations, to this different stimulus. So you want to make sure that the behavior that you're rewarding is the behavior that is desired, right?
Correct.
So you got to be very, like the dog has been observing you. You want to observe the dog. So you looking at his change in posture, because remember, at this age, he's going to reach maturity and his temperament is emerging. He's turning from a boy into a man, or she's turning from a girl into a woman, going from a pup into adult. And now you're going to start to see these different reactions, to the way that, the things that present themselves. So, I mean, that was a good question. That's a good question. You definitely want to give the dog, he's earning privileges, especially when the behavior is consistent with what your desires are. You want to reward that with more privileges. You're going to allow the dog to have a little bit more freedom. You're going to give the dog a little bit more freedom, or roam, a little bit more leash, right? You may extend the leash from 6 foot to a 20-footer, right? But it's not total freedom just yet.
because they will take advantage of that total freedom. I'll tell you guys a story about Barack here in a second. Well, I'll tell you now real quick. And Jordan kind of introduced it earlier, because now at this 8-month mark, you're going to be going from those cute, pretty, handsome collars that you have for your dog to maybe, like Jordan said, a choke chain or a pinch collar or something like that. I know some people don't like those, but for me, they're effective tools. I tell you what, 8 weeks, well, more like 12 weeks once Barack had all of his shots, to 8 months, I'm walking him around Home Depot, I'm walking him around Lowe's, I'm walking him around Petco and PetSmart all the time with his little cute collars on, and he's listening. He sits down when I tell him to, and then once in a while when he didn't do it, he's small enough for me to correct him, right? Somewhere about 8 months old, he only about 125, 130 pounds at 8 months old, right? But I had this nice little cool leather collar on him, man. You know, the ones you always had, the little cool collar. And that day at PetSmart, he didn't want to listen to me. Now, he wasn't going crazy attacking stuff, but he wanted to go where he wanted to go. And he was not listening. Like, all of his senses was out of his head. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. And with his regular collar on, regular leash, I could not control. He's only 130 pounds. And if he wanted to go around this corner, he was going around this corner. I'm on the slick floor slide, and he just didn't want to listen. So that's when I was like, okay, man, we got to get a pinch collar. We got to get a pinch collar, because he listens 99% of the time, but that 1% when he decides he doesn't want to listen, you can't control a 130, 180 pound dog if they don't want you to control them with a regular collar and leash.
Yeah, you want to, and so you mindful of that. You know that this situation is coming. This is going to happen. You know, this is just a natural progression in the evolution of the dog. He is going to test the boundaries. He is going to make you have to instill and discipline him. And remember, Boer buddies, commands are not requests. So when you tell the dog to do something, you have to follow up with either if the dog is going to appropriately respond with praise. So then if you get the desired effect, you tell the dog to sit. Hey, hold on, stop, sit. Right? If you get the desired effect, you're going to reward with praise. It's not a request. So if you don't sit, now you're going to get corrections, right? And the correction is this way to make the dog feel like, okay, I would like to get back to comfortable. I would like to be back to comfortable. So you're gonna, apply a little pressure, maybe tighten up that lead around the neck. Hey, I say sit, and then now we're showing you, listen, this is what I mean, and then this is going up until you get in that response. Now we're getting into our praise. So that's a what we call a correction. This is an example of a proper way, a sequence of events. So you can keep this in mind, Boer buddies. If you don't get the desired response, you're going to definitely have to. This is called discipline. Yeah. This is establishing clear leadership. If
discipline is the instant willing obedience to all orders, self-reliance, and teamwork. So it's the instant willing obedience. Like Jordan was saying, it's not a discussion. It's not a debate. It's not something you can bargain with, right? It's instant willing obedience, and your dog needs to have that.
Yeah, it's not
negotiable.
It's not negotiable. It's not negotiable. I told you to calm down and relax. So what happens is if you're not strict with your discipline, the dog starts to understand, I love mom, I love dad, I love brother, I love sister. But they don't understand how serious that this world is, how dangerous that this world. They're a little soft. Mom and dad, they don't really understand how serious that this can get. I need to step up. Okay, mom, you say stand down. You don't understand. You're not your leadership. I'm not trusting in it. I'm going to step up and I'm going to handle this because you don't understand. This is a dangerous situation and you need to be protected.
Yep.
The dog has to feel a level of confidence in you
Yes.
that
We
you
discussed that
are
last week.
capable
Yep.
of handling the situation. When you say slow down, stop, stand down, that it's under the situation is under control. That is effective leadership. This is what we keep talking about: the discipline, the rules within the
Yes.
confines of the pack. The dog has a clear understanding of this now.
Real
They've
quick,
studied.
thank you, Auntie Jan. We really appreciate that.
We love you,
I know,
Auntie
yeah.
Jan.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Humble again for that. I know my man Jay gonna put that into good use for the registry and take care of Boerboels, because that's what a true boar ambassador does. So all of it is much appreciated. Much love from the both of us. Thank you for your consistent support.
Thank you so much, Auntie Jan. Much love. Much love. Very much appreciated. But yeah, this is what we're trying to do, though. We want to help you. We want to and help you get a better relationship. And a lot of times people don't know what to expect. That's why they say, Boerboel is not for first-time owners. Boerboel is not for novices, right? Because most of the time, you coddling the dog, you loving the dog, you hugging on the dog, you constantly rubbing on the dog. And what you're doing, you may be misinforming the dog. You may be mistraining the dog by offering this praise at the incorrect time. Timing is going to be critical, right? So you're going to set up situations for the dog to be disobedient. And then what you're going to do is you're going to issue out, if the dog responds to this behavior the way that you want, then you prepared to praise it. If the dog does not do the desired effect, it's non-negotiable. You're going to step in and you're going to address it. You're going to correct it. You're not going to let this root grow into a weed. You're going to kill the root, the weed at the root, because these are the things that become difficult, making the Boerboel relationship difficult. This is what makes managing dogs difficult, because people don't understand about these routines, these habits, and building them up consistently. What happens
you can find yourself over your head in water real quick. If you don't do what Jordan said and like get to the root of it, you can find yourself underwater real fast with these dogs, and that's a bad place to be, is drowning with a Boerboel. So that's one of the things we do here at Boerboel Breakdown and Discussions. Hopefully, when you get your boar buddy, that you got a good breeder that's there to walk you through the steps. But if not, you got us, the boar ambassadors. We're here to break it down and walk you through step to steps, because on our watch, we're not going to let any Boerboel owner drown with their Boerboel. We're not going to let anybody drown with their Boerboel and say they can't handle it or control it. That's some of the tips and guidance. We're going to be here every single week and on Thursdays to provide with you with this program, and also throughout the rest of the week. We are available, and there'll also be other programs and lives for us to sit down here and discuss these different situations you might find yourself in.
Right. It's a lot of information. This is what we want to do. We want to be an asset. We want to be a source of information. I mean, we don't know everything, but we're willing to learn together. I've had a number of experiences with my dogs, and I always have wished that I had a reference, a source that I could go to for this type of information. And that's why we're doing this. It's not about us. This is about you all. This is about the Boerboel community. We want to help
a few
you.
Sponsors like Auntie Jan and a few people that give us some donations that we really, really appreciate. But it's not all about the money for us. It's not about the money. There's lots of things Jordan could be doing that I could be doing right now. But we want to be here with you, boar buddies. We want to be here with you, and we want you to take advantage of this show and this opportunity and the stuff we bring in and introduce throughout the program, like the registry, like the classes that we will be starting up soon. We want you to take advantage of it, because we want you to be successful. And because we know if you're successful, we can be more successful together. So we don't want anybody blowing in the wind. We want everybody to come here, gain some knowledge, and also feed us some knowledge too. Feed us some knowledge too, so we all get better, well-rounded.
Yeah, I would like to learn from your experiences because like I said, I'm placing dogs out. I want to know what is going on with the dogs in the community, different things that I might not understand. I might not have lived through it just yet. And we can learn from each other. I'm willing to do the research. If I don't know, I'll find out. And I want to make sure that
research, man. Hey, Jordan gonna do some research. I'm telling you, if you don't know, I'm telling you now, that brother, if you plant one seed in his head, he gonna come back from you 2 hours. Man, I looked at this, I looked at that. I'm sending it to you right now, and my phone start going ding, ding, ding. I'm like, God dang, Jordan, man, did you read this? Did you read? You sent it to me 30 seconds ago, bro. How did I read it yet, Jay? Man, you got to read this. I'm like, it's not even finished loading yet, Jordan. Man, but buddy, you gotta look at it. I'm like, I'm trying to open it now. He gonna do his research, man. He gonna do his research.
Yeah, knowledge is power, bro. Knowledge is power.
Right.
And one of the first things that they tried to do when I first came in there, when I first started with my Boerboels, I had questions and they wanted to say, well, you don't know enough. You don't know enough. And that was like, that's something that I could learn, though. I'm not above learning. I'm not saying that I know it all. That's why I'm asking questions. And so when we want to be here, I think about myself. If it was me, what would I want? What would I need? What would have been a benefit? I could have learned so much if I just, when I finally did luck up on a mentor, my program just went to the roof. I didn't know the things that I was doing wrong. No matter how, it's different when you got somebody that's lived through the experience. So that's where we at with it. We want to share our experiences with you to help you, empower you, and maybe it'll save a dog or two, maybe save you some heartache, save you a couple of dollars, whatever. But it's the exchange of information. That's the goals here. So we got some good information.
So what's some of the physical changes you start seeing in your pups at about 8 to 14 months? What's some of the physical changes you see? We talked about some of the mental changes, but what about the physical changes you see?
Well, you start to see your dogs at that age. You're going to see them they're going to reach their adult size, believe it or not, at 8 to 10 months. They're going to start with their adult height. He's almost completely grown in the length of the leg. You maybe get a couple more growth spurts. But this is at this age, though, physically, you're going to start to see those muscles start to mature.
Okay.
You're going to start to see that thickness in the bone. You're going to have a real clear idea of the dog that you're going to be working with at maturity. You can really see, what is getting ready to happen. The last thing to grow on the dogs that I have noticed with the Boerboels, especially like the larger varieties, is the head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Head last.
So you're going to get that fully developed body. You're going to have, all it's still going to be soft muscle. It's not going to be like that hard body, but you can get a very good estimation of the dog's final size and his, build. So, you got about 75% of his total growth.
So height and length, you know what you're working with. Bone, you know what you're working with at about that time. The head is been growing, but not at the rate as the rest of the body. So height, length, thickness of bone, potentially what you're working with, the size of the dog you're working with. Now it just needs to start adding on the width in the head and the muscle. But bone, length of bone, and width of bone. That stuff right now.
Right. And another thing to monitor, to really pay close attention to, is your energy levels. Right.
Okay.
So now you got a good idea. Okay, what your dog, how far you can take him for a walk before he starts to fatigue. You got an idea of how often that he's going to need to walk. How long does it take your dog to recover from the walk? All of these things is very vital information. Okay, so hey, listen, you can reserve blocks of time. And now I know that I need to go work my dog out for 30 minutes. And then I feel like this is a very important to understand that energy levels. We don't often talk about that with the dogs. We often get into the size, but I think that it's very relevant when we start talking about the totality of the dog, the level of energy. What is it going to take to manage this dog's energy to keep the dog calm, at a calm, submissive state. When this dog starts to get all of this pent up energy, now you start to get into these destructive habits and destructive behaviors, which is what we want to avoid. These are the things where cause dogs to end up in shelters when they're not being properly managed. 9 times out of 10, they say there are no bad owners. There are no bad dogs. There's only bad owners.
Yeah.
You have not fulfilled your obligations, your responsibilities to the dog. And that's where you start to have problems. Just like with the child. If you don't spend time talking to the child, raising the child, letting them know the way that they should conduct themselves as good citizens, then you could probably expect them to get in trouble in school. They can get in trouble at after school, or they're going to be, they haven't learned any discipline. They haven't learned about consequences. They haven't. So you need to understand this about your child. So I know my child, needs sports activities. They need mental stimulation. They need activities. It's just the same thing with the dog, based off the energy levels, though. Keep in mind the energy levels, because certain dogs need more, certain dogs require more. And it's not so much about physical. You also need to be exhausting the mental, right? Because this is a very intelligent breed. We talked about how their capacity for learning last week. We talked about how they have a capacity for retaining information. This is a very adaptable dog. So remember, he's taking in his environment. He's making all of these observations. He's trying to calculate, what do I need to do to maintain this happiness, this good feeling? How do I stay in dad's good graces? You have to have a clear outline of expectations for your dog. And then you're going to keep in mind his energy levels, because you have a responsibility to the dog as well. You want to make sure that you're fulfilling your obligations to the dog. That's part of what we talk about being the dog's best friend.
Yeah. And so some of the stuff you should have been doing a lot earlier, but you definitely want to be doing now is when you're playing with your dog and you're exercising your dog, you want to take time to before walks and after walks. You want to check his paws, the pads of his feet. Make sure they're not cracking. You want to hold his paws, because a lot of dogs don't want you to hold their paws. And so when it's time to start doing the nails and stuff, they don't want you touching their paws. So you got to get used to holding their paws, looking inside their ears, making sure there's no infections or anything, ear infections, and just playing with, just messing with, again, the paws and the ears, certain areas that they don't like to be touched. So you want to get them used to being stimulated with that a lot earlier. But here at this 8-month mark, the 14-month mark, you want to make sure you have that dialed in.
Right, especially when you're talking about exercising and conditioning.
Yes.
Right, most of us live in an urban society where we surrounded by pavement, concrete, and asphalt. So if you're working your dogs out, I highly recommend. One of the things that drew me to the breeder that I went with was the fact that he had a child riding a bike alongside the dog. That's something that I've always loved to do, ride my bike with the dog. So, if you're going to be doing that with your dog, you got to keep in mind the condition of the pads, because the dog is meant to run in grass and on dirt. If you're moving him around on the concrete in his environment, he's gripping that ground, and it's almost like a sandpaper where it wears down the pads. So you got to be mindful of that. You don't want
the pads.
Yep, mindful of the pads. You don't want to injure your dog. I done ran dogs' toenails off. I done ran.
You want to be careful, again, before the walks and after walks. You want to be mindful of his feet, and especially during these hot summer months. I know you up north, so it might be a little bit less for you, but down here in Texas, I like to walk in during these hot summer months. I like to walk in the grass a little bit more, not my neighbor's grass, but in fields and stuff. Because again, if that cement's hot for you, if you put your hand down there and it's going to burn your hand, it's more than likely going to burn your dog's foot too. So that's just a little side note for you guys to be aware of.
You had said something else too after the walk, right? Yes. So remember this. You want to make the dog look forward to the walk. So by what I'm doing is a conditioning, and I'm doing it at a brisk pace. I'm working the dog out. I'm fatiguing them. I'm making them reach fatigue, exhaustion. So part of that, when we get back, I want to give them a good massage. I want them to feel very good about what they have just accomplished. I want them to know I'm very proud of them. And this may be one of the only times that I dedicate, 10, 15 minutes to just rubbing my dog down, making
Just
him
like
feel.
horse owners.
Yeah.
A
Say that
horse
again.
owner will never, ever, ever ride a horse, come back and just put the horse up. Never. And same thing with your Boerboel. You should never just exercise your dog, come back and put it up.
No, you definitely want, it's so you want to get that blood flowing to those muscles. You want to rub them down, massage them real good. Let them. I mean, it's a lot to do with them. This. Remember, the dog. A lot of times, especially with Boerboels, they are so intent on pleasing you and being being a utility. So this is your way when you praise, and that's why I say be very mindful of your praise. Only praise when it's calm, when you're calm and assertive, well calm and submissive in the dog. The dog needs to be submissive. You don't want to reward the dog and praise the dog and love the dog when it's acting all energetic and it's excited and it's jumping up and down on you. We don't want to tell the dog that this is appropriate mind state. We want to get the dog into a calm, submissive state where it's just relaxed. 9 times out of the 10, after the run, the dog is going to be relaxed. It's going to be kind of exhausted. It's going to be fatigued, and you're going to let the dog know it's going to be laying down. It's going to be just chilling. Yeah, like that.
It's going to have that little smile on his face, but it's going to
yeah. And you want to reward him for going all out, giving you his best, pushing through that pain.
When get on the ground with him. Get on that,
right.
Because it's going to be on the ground on that cold floor trying to relax. You don't know how much he'll appreciate if you sit down next to him. Because he's going to be, and then you sit down next to him, he's going, and then he's gonna scoot next to you, and he's gonna be sliding around on the ground a little bit, and that's when you're building that bond with him. You're building it with him during that exercise duration. But if you get down and you don't just go and just sit down and grab a beer or a soda or a sweet tea and chill and leave him sitting there by himself, if you go show him that, like Jordan said, that extra little bit of love and rub him down a little bit. And good boy, that's a good walk. You did good during this walk. Let him know, talk to him, and you're making his day.
Yes.
His or her day.
I'm glad that you said that too about spending time with the dog, right? That's a great key point because you're building this bond. You're getting down there on the floor with the dog, right?
Yeah.
If you ever watch a wolf pack, if you ever watch dogs in their natural state, that's how dogs show love to each other. That's how dogs express, that's how they bond. Yeah. They just spend time with each other, just being together. So the fact that you sitting down there with the dog, now he's saying like, Dad, me and Dad got a thing together. Me and Dad got this thing that we do. Nobody else can understand it. But me and Dad, he understands me and I understand him. And I'm down to give you my all. I'll run till my heart explode. You know what I'm saying? For you, Dad. Hey, this how you made me feel. This is what this reward has done for me. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think that a lot of people tend to feel like showing they have to touch the dog or they have to talk to the dog in order to express affection, right? The dog is fine with you being there next to it, sitting there. And then, like I said, when you offering praise, when you putting your hands on that dog, that's like you making this day, you making this clock tick, you making this world revolve around the sun. That's what it's all about for him or her. The fact that you putting your hands on them, you loving them and rubbing them, and you letting them know how proud of them that you are for accomplishing this small minor task. You just stay close by me. Kenya all the way in the house.
Kenya in the house?
We got Kenya all the way up in here. My daughter
We
going out there.
appreciate you guys. Let us know where else in the states you're following from and out of the states. Kenya, the UK, Texas, Ohio, California, New York, Carolina, wherever you at. Let us know where you guys are coming from, and we appreciate the love in Kenya.
Yes, sir. It's an international thing. You know, this is not something that we do. You got to remember that the love for the Boerboel it touches across the globe. And hey, look, if you hear represent your stuff, represent your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we can salute you. And we're gonna be traveling and going different places, and hopefully we get to meet some board buddies. We're gonna be seeing y'all. We're gonna be around.
We are here for you, board buddies. Hey, Connecticut, New Haven. I used to live in Groton for a couple of years when I was a young Marine. I was stationed in Groton, about 20 minutes from New Haven. So what's up, Connecticut in the house?
Connecticut
the Constitution
in the house.
State.
Yeah, I seen the thing with them Connecticut kid boys, man. Lock your doors. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the Connecticut guys, man. They call it the Constitution State, man. I used to live there for a hot second. Connecticut can be kind of wild, believe it or not, man.
I'm anywhere that is depressed. Integrity. Boerboels in the house. I'm like, man, what's going on, Mr. Price? So the last thing that I wanted to talk about at this stage is supervising, right? Like you said, you know, we're gonna let the dog, give him a little bit of freedom, right? But
a little bit more freedom.
It's almost like what they call a chaperone. You know, you want to chaperone your dog. You're not
good word.
It's just like an adolescent, it's a teenager. You know, you're not going to leave it to him because his mind has not fully developed. He may still test the boundaries. He might try it. So you want to supervise your pup while it's like, okay, especially with children and small animals, other animals, right? You want to make sure that the dog is behaving, gently, being submissive, being calm, not knocking the child over or nothing like that. You know, you trusting in the dog, you know, everything that you have done up until this point, but you want to be mindful of the delicate and fragile situations, especially when you're talking about a child or another dog, a small dog or a small pet, chickens, rabbits, goats, whatever other animals that you may have, because like you said, the dog he's developed, his temperament is emerging, and he may get into some predatory type of behaviors where he's looking at, okay, so what am I supposed to do with a chicken? Right, this is my first time ever seeing a chicken. It's very interesting. Well, let me take a bite and let me get a taste. But this is the family's chicken, though. You may not gonna eat Chicken Little. That's the homie. We have to be mindful, because you come back, you might have a bunch of feathers and no chicken. So you got to be supervising. You know, he may be playing with Baby J and knock Baby J down, and she crying, and he's very apologetic, not understanding what he did wrong. But if you're hovering over like a chaperone, this give you a chance to address the behavior as it arises, right? That's key. Timing is going to be critical. We're gonna open it up for questions. If anybody will have questions, we got a couple questions over here on Instagram. Instagram doesn't always come up, but we had, it doesn't come up in the chat over here on this side. But we got some questions, and anybody else have questions, we're gonna open it up for questions and stick to our schedule.
Let us know, and piggyback on what Jordan was just saying, that these dogs, they're very gentle with kids as far as using their mouth and not getting upset if a kid pokes it or pinches or prods the dog. They're real gentle. But one thing you have to watch out is that they're not always cognizant of their size. So like Jordan says, they could knock a kid down if they step on a kid's foot. If the kid is barefooted or have on sandals and they step on the kid's foot, it's gonna hurt. So they're not aggressive towards kids. They don't use their mouth. They're very understanding of kids poking, prodding, and pinching on them, but they don't understand their size, and they could easily knock a kid down, and that can hurt, step on them, smush them. So you do have to supervise, chaperone that part of it.
Yeah, supervising is key. We got a question over here. It says, how do y'all feel about conditioning, Boerboels? I think we kind of touched on that, but we'll finish it up. I think that it's a key to effective management. You know, when you're getting out there conditioning, this is a way you have to have activities for these dogs, especially the Boerboel, because remember, they are a utility breed. It's a working dog. It wants to play a role. Companionship is his priority. Your safety and security is number one on this list. But you have, as a leader, you have to say, "Oh, look, I gotta come up. I know you need activities. I know that you need mental stimulation. So you want. I think that the fact that you conditioning the dog, it gives it a reason to exist, something to live for."
Yeah. And so it kind of confuses people when I say this, because I say, and so I try to explain it. So at first, I always start off saying that a Boerboel isn't like a Corso. A Boerboel, if you don't take it out the side to play and stimulate and stuff, it's not going to be like a Corso. And some dogs, they just get so wound up with energy that they're going to tear your house up. I tell people that Boerboels, if you want to lay down and watch TV, a Boerboel is content watching TV with you and being a couch potato with you. So I say that to say that if they don't get an appropriate amount of exercise, they're not going to tear up your house and go crazy like some dogs. But then I have to counter that by saying they do need it, though. They do need that exercise and that emotional and physical stimulation for their overall health and well-being. So just because they don't get destructive and start bouncing off your walls and stuff, now you got one or two dogs that will. I got my female Asia here that will bounce off the walls if she don't get exercise, but not the majority of them won't just start bouncing from wall to wall like some other breed does. But they do still need that exercise. They still do need to get out and patrol the environment and get the juices and the sweat flowing and the tongue hanging a little bit.
Yeah, that great point. Great point, big bro. So you want to start, you want to lead us into you got a big event coming up. You're getting ready to have some pups. And I know that it's a tough time. It's you got to get ready. What are you doing over there, big bro?
Well, I got puppies. Today is day 59. So tonight I say day 60. So today's day 60. I've only had one female ever make it to day 62, right? So I'm expecting to have puppies tonight, sometime before tomorrow night. So in the next, I say 30 hours, a little less than 20, a little more than 24 hours, I'll have puppies. All day I've been working back in on my whelping box again, getting myself mentally stimulated because whelping, especially with this breed, to me is a big ordeal. It's a big task. And so, I've been mentally preparing myself, getting my whelping room up to par, and just I'm on puppy watch anytime. And they like to start having them at about 11 o'clock at night to between 3 o'clock in the morning. So they could be coming tonight. So been hyping myself up and getting ready for it. And next week, I'll be coming to you guys live from the whelping box. I'll be doing Boerboel breakdown and discussion from the whelping box next week.
Yeah, there'd be some good information there because there's a lot that goes into management of the whelping box. Why is there a whelping box? What are the advantages of a whelping box? Why we don't just let Boerboels have puppies outside in the backyard? This is a question. Remember, somebody was saying, "Hey, I think the chairman talked about they dogs used to have puppies and they just would go have to find them." But it's something. Yeah, not today. We ain't gonna take them kind of chances.
So we do it in a controlled environment. So I got a whole room set up dedicated for whelping. I got my whelping box in there. So my motto over here at Savage Kingdom is that if my mom's in the whelping box, I'm in the whelping box. So I'm in that whelping box every single hour for 24 hours. The first at least 10 days, if not the first 2.5 weeks, minimum of 10 days, every single hour. So I feed the puppies. Me and mom come out the whelping box for an hour. Back in there the next hour. Come out, and so we might be in the whelping box 20, 30 minutes, come out for an hour, and then go right back in. And that's a consistent over here in Savage Kingdom. I got some very good mothers here that take good care of their puppies, but I supervise. So again, if mom's in the whelping box with the puppies, you're gonna see it next week. I'll be in a hot ass room because the puppies like the temperature hot. So we'll be going over some of that information. So be prepared to see me looking stinky. It's gonna be a good thing y'all can't smell because I will be stinky. But y'all gonna see, because if you don't know, I keep my house in the 60s. I love it cold. My house is probably about 64, 65 degrees right now. And I'm gonna be sucking because the house is gonna be about 75 degrees. And my whelping room is gonna be right at 90, 91. So it's gonna be hot in there. And I'm gonna be miserable. And I'm gonna be looking, oh man, I'm gonna be looking sweaty and disgusting. But that's how we do.
Yeah, that's how we do. I'm always within the earshot of mine. Like as soon as I hear, hey, I'm up, getting right over there to it. I'm gonna make sure and see. A part of what we're gonna be doing is training our dogs to be a responsible mother, training our mothers to be responsible. In summary, I want to go over everything that we talk about today. Make sure that y'all walking away from this lesson today. What we picked up, what we are trying to, the points that we are trying to make. Coming up, you want to maintain consistent rules, teaching the dog respectful behavior, help the puppies understand their boundaries, and we want to foster a respectful relationship. We are looking to develop confidence, reduce fearfulness through a bunch of different diverse exposures. We're trying to build well-adjusted dogs that can handle various situations calmly. We want to be consistent in using positive reinforcement, focusing on the commands. We want to establish a foundation for lifelong good behavior. All of this is going to be occurring right at this age that we're speaking of, between 8 to 14 months. We want to make sure that we are monitoring the energy levels, training as the puppy matures, understanding how important the training and the corrections, praise is, factors into play. We want to use exercise to manage energy, to prevent behavioral issues and destructiveness and hyperactivity, because we want to strengthen our dog's relationship and understanding of the boundaries. Leadership is going to be key in every stage of the game. We want to ensure our calm, assertive presence to help the dog feel secure and understand his place within the pack. To just like you said, we want to limit and prevent behavioral issues. We want to keep our environment stable. We only offering praise when the dog is calm, right? We're not going to allow the dog to be in this heightened energetic state. We're not going to reward that state. We want to look for the dog to be, we're trying to reinforce this desired behavior of calmness. We don't want to encourage the dog to be excited and jumping all around. And, finally, the supervision and in management of the dog's environment. Be proactive in preventing destructive behaviors and teaching good habits. This is, we're just trying to prevent the development of bad habits and ensure safe interactions. So that's the summary for today's episode, y'all. You can go back over it if you missed any of the key talking points that we just discussed. But at the end of the day, we want you to understand that this is about the furthering the development of your relationship with your dog, reaching the greatest potential of the breed, and having a great relationship with your dog. This is a key time. Big bro, I'm gonna let you close it out.
All right, again, board buddies, we appreciate you. Remember, for and foremost, that we're here for you every Thursday. Boerboel breakdown and discussion, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here, open environment for everybody. We love you. We love the breed. We appreciate all the conversation and the positive feedback we get throughout the week. If you can't catch us live, these videos are syndicated on all our platforms. Next week, coming to you live from the Whelping Box. And we also got some other good events coming up and some other good information. We're trying to roll this stuff out slowly. I know we keep giving you guys some proposed dates, but everything is in the progress because when we give it to you, we want to give it to you picture perfect. So again, nobody closes us out as good as you, boy, buddy. So go ahead and take the final word and send us out of here until next Thursday, brother.
Board buddies, I appreciate y'all. Listen, we are so excited to have you here. We feel extremely honored to have your presence. We hope that what you hear, your time is valued, that you're picking up information. We're just trying to share. We're looking to learn. We're looking forward to learning with you. Mother's Day is coming up, y'all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And we're going to be here. We're going to be continuing to work and grind, doing our research, doing our homework to give you some valuable information, that some tools that you can use, some news that you can use. With that being said,
I got to jump off a second earlier. I just had some guests walk through the door. But, hey, brother, next Thursday, I'm here with you.
I'm out with you too, big brother. Much love, boy, buddies. I appreciate y'all for joining. Thank y'all. Stay tuned next week. Lots of information coming soon. Catch up with y'all next week.
No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth pushing.